Star fam, how are you? Welcome to our first book club. Today we will go over the first three chapters in Brandy Norwood's book, Phases of Memoir. We read up to page 75. We are going to discuss it chapter by chapter. I'll give my thoughts on the chapter. I'll hop into the comments and talk to the Star family, and then we'll get into the next chapter, hop into the comments, next chapter, hop into the comments, wrap it up, and we'll do it again next week. I'm so excited. This was a good read.
And I just can't fight it.
Is it fight or hide? Y'all saying two different things.
I'm about to lose control.
And I think I like it. I would like to get to know if I could be
whoa,
the kind of girl
that. But see, this is the vocal Bible.
Here's the thing. Beyonce.
Okay.
Because you make sure you louder than everybody else. Because I want to be down.
Yeah.
I want to be down with you.
All over town.
No. Anyway, this was a really good read. I feel like 75 pages was too low.
Yeah. We was ready to keep going.
I could say, I was just like, I don't want to stop. I feel like we may have to up the ante, but let's just see how, you guys were all able to handle this. But this was a really good read so far, Brandy. I'm in it. I am in it. So let's start off with the preface. I thought this was really, really interesting because I never like she talks about the story of the African folklore story about a nameless, lonely little girl. She was beautiful. I'll just read the first sentence. Once I stumbled upon a tale, a delicate thread of North African folklore about a nameless, lonely little girl. She was beautiful and soft spoken, fragile yet resilient. She wandered Earth searching for pieces of herself that felt lost to the winds. As her loneliness grew, her body filled with sorrow. The little girl swelled and swelled, her tiny body expanding like a balloon. Her grief grew so thick that she could no longer find her voice, so she drifted along Earth, weightless yet heavy with despair. Now the moon believed the warmth now the moon believed the warmth of her glow could bring comfort to this lost girl. But the girl's sorrows overshadowed the brightness radiating from the moon's nightly beams. The moon tried and tried again, and to no avail. And so the moon whispered to the stars, and the stars twinkled and shone with all their radiant might. Even still, the little girl did not pay attention. She continued to believe she was alone in her anguish. One night, the moon decided she would not rise at all. Instead, she traveled down to Earth in search of the girl. She found her in a barren desert. The moon scooped the girl up and flew her into the night sky, bathed her in the glow of the moon's embrace. The girl felt a sigh escape her throat. The moon gently rocked the little girl in her arms. She had never felt such comfort, such peace, such warmth. You cannot stay up here forever, the moon told the girl. You belong on Earth, and I must stay in the sky for all the other people, but I will help you. The little girl sat up. She did not understand what she was being told. She just stared back blankly. Let your sadness flow, the moon repeated. It's okay to let out your sorrow. Suddenly, an unfamiliar sensation overcame the girl. A stream of wetness poured from the corners of her eyes. She was unsure what was happening. The girl had never felt the tickle of a tear rolling down her cheek, the saltiness of a tear on her tongue. As the girl wept under the glow of the moon, she found her release. From that day on, the moon reminded the girl that no matter how much sorrow filled her, she was never truly alone. And then she writes, ever since I was a little girl, I have been drawn to the moon and folklore around her. The quiet of the night helps calm my racing thoughts. The moon soothes me down to my soul. I find so much beauty in her phases, an endless cycle of endings and beginnings, rebirth, cleanses, second chances as a child. I remember being told that my dreams were written in the stars and the power of the moon can make them come true. Now that explains Full Moon. Remember when she came out with that album and I was just like, I could never quite pick what, you know what I mean? Like I didn't know what it meant or what was happening with that, but that was my girl and I was going to support her either way. But I was just like, what did that mean? Because I was just like, is a wolf emerging? I was not really sure what that meant. But reading this, I'm like, oh, I would have liked to have known that. I would have been on board had I known you had a special relationship with the moon. And if anybody knows of that African folklore story, please let me know. Because that sounds like something that I would like love to have. Like, you know what I mean, in my library. That sounds like a really beautiful story. I already have, I don't have it yet, but these are the books that I feel like every Black person should have. It's, shoot, I forgot both the names. You know the names about the Black people who fly. Shoot, I just had it and I forgot it. And the other one about the African princess that has to travel through the forest by herself. Like she has a sister. Y'all remember that from when we were kids? I don't want to say their eyes. What? They could fly. Y'all know what it is. Y'all gonna tell me in the comments, Star family. But I feel like those are like 3 books. Well, those 2 books and whatever she's talking about. I feel like that's something every Black person should have in their home. Those books. The People Could Fly. Yes, that one. The People Could Fly. I forget the other one about the African princess in the forest. and she has to go like on these tasks. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. And also, what is Brandy talking about? I've never heard of that story, but it sounds really, 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 really beautiful. I know something similar, but it's Native American folklore. So I would love to know what she is talking about. But that explains full moon. She's coming full circle as the moon. I never would have put that together. So let's get into the first chapter. Phases. I was so shocked at her insecurities. Like when she's talking about performing with Burna Boy at the Grammys, she's just like, I haven't been here since 1997, and I don't know if these people want to see me. Am I going to be doing good? Like for all of that to be going through her head when she's like literally Brandy, the vocal Bible, I was just really shocked at how vulnerable she was and how she had so many insecurities, because you just don't see it. You know what I mean? She does a really good job of hiding that, because I would have never thought that you, somebody who I have grown up watching perform, would be at the Grammys, a place that you've always been at, and be nervous about stepping on stage.
And on television.
And nervous about the fact that if these people would receive you because you've been away for so long. And I'm literally reading it like, but you're Brandy. So that was like a lot to take in from there, because I was just like, oh, yeah, of course you would get nervous. But I would just, I don't know. I think that somebody who's been doing it for so long, you get nervous every time you step on the stage. That was insightful. And
it was trauma.
Well,
it's her being bullied.
Oh, that's what you think that was for? Her getting on the stage?
Yeah, it's her trauma always surfaces. And it doesn't have to be. Her trauma is from. It's birthed out of insecurities. She was very insecure as a kid.
I don't think that she was insecure because she
was bullied. That's why she was insecure.
So you think that that's why she was feeling like that on stage, because of how she was treated as a kid?
Yes, it always comes up and it looks different.
Okay.
Every time it shows up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's birthed out of the same trauma.
Mm-hmm.
From her being insecure. People talked about her looks.
Mm-hmm.
People talked about her being skinny.
Mm-hmm.
So she just feels like, do they want to see me? Like,
that's what she was saying.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, you're Brandy, you've done so much. What do you mean people want to see you? The only reason why that Burna Boy song did good was because everybody was thinking about you. Like it was nostalgic for us to hear that. And that song took off, which is why he used that, because whoever produced that knew how people would gravitate to that song. And then for her to get out on that stage and hear the roars of the audience and be like, oh, these people still like me. And I'm like, Brandy, that song was a hit because of you. Like, girl. But it was just, we get to see how that evolves. But just seeing that one part that was so iconic for all of us was nerve-wracking for her. And I really hate how this industry sometimes make people feel like their great moments are just a moment and something to move on from and something for them to top. Or if they can't keep on doing that what they did prior doesn't matter. Because for her to do all that she has done and to be on that stage in 2024 feeling irrelevant speaks to this industry. Because I don't think that she came to that conclusion on her own. I think it's because this industry is constantly chasing what's next and never bask in the moment of the greatness that they
and that's pressure.
Or experience. Yeah, pressure to stay on top, pressure to compete with the next. And it's just like you can't even enjoy your artistry because you're constantly in this competition that I think the industry is putting them in. I think it's the execs. I don't think it's the artists. Artists don't compete. Artists create. And that's it.
And they compare
with
the next artist.
Yeah. Yep. But that was just really interesting to see. But girl, your song is still a hit. Like we listened to the remixes of it, and we also listened to the original, because I remember that moment when she stepped on that stage. I was hoping that she was going to perform, and I remember that moment, and everybody went up, of course, because it's like Brandy.
Yeah,
Do you know who you are?
Yeah, where you been?
Do you know who you are?
But
That was
sometimes
an
people
amazing
don't.
moment.
But sometimes people don't know who they are. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody around you can see who you are and your influence
True.
and your impact. And it takes a minute and it takes a beat for you to get to that place to
Mhm.
kind of know that. Sometimes I think it's God ordained though, because it keeps people humble and it keeps you in a place. But once you tap into it, I think that everybody should at least know so you can tap into it, but then utilize it properly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thank you, Toya.
Yeah.
Perspective. It's perspective. I just I was just reading that like, oh my God, you were so nervous. And we were going crazy. But you know, it happens, child. It happens. Let's get into your comments and then we'll get into Pink Camellias because that's a bit longer. What did you all think about phases? What was your, for that first chapter, from the preface to phases, what were your thoughts, Mama Star?
Well, can you summarize what the first chapter was in case somebody's
I just talked about it.
Oh,
You got to read the book.
okay.
No,
I read it with mommy, but I was just wondering if you were going to tap into, because mommy tapped into childhood and.
Well, we're taking it chapter by chapter. So, go. What was your overall thoughts of the first chapter? Phases.
Okay. The overall chapter, the first chapter was her insecurities, her being, having to grow up. She was the oldest, so she's growing up. She don't have nobody to. She's being bullied. She doesn't have anybody to step up for her. She don't want to tell her mother what's really going on.
That's not, you're jumping into Pink Camellias. Phases just ends with, Phases is real quick. It's just her talking about coming back into the spotlight.
Oh, you talking about the preface?
Yes, but it's also phases.
Oh, you gotta move on.
Okay. I'll get into the comments from Star Family, and then we get into Pink Camellias because Mama Star want to get into the meat and potatoes. Okay. Thank you, Kylie B. Kylie B said, reading along, we'll join the replay gang until work calms down. Thank you. E for Empathy said, hey, Nikki and Star Family, happy Wednesday. It's the inaugural Star Family Book Club meeting. I'm so happy to be here. Yes. Hey, Denard. Denard said, hi, Nikki and Star Family. These chapters were a lot. I relate to Child Brandy so much. Same. Like, I'm telling you, reading this, I was just like, this is like a 90s kid, a 2000s kid. This is our childhood. Like, we literally all had the same childhood. Latchkey kids unite. Yeah. Mama Star said, happy Wednesday, Star Family. It's Book Club Wednesday. Let's get started. Hey, Ornella. Ornella said, yay, we're here. And I did my homework. Thank you for doing this, Nikki. Of course, this was such a good read. Overall, 23 said, I was so glad to hear how influential and involved Brandy's father was. I never knew anything about him. Yes, he is a star maker. The kinder Matthew knows. GWK said, I love how she celebrates her Black American culture. Yes, I want to get into that in Pink Camellias. Hey, Shoni, how are you? E for Empathy said, the storytelling is so beautiful. I could almost feel the cold hands on my scalp when she spoke about her hair braiding. Yes. Over it all said, I kept on reading, listening past 75 pages. I am really enjoying this book. It's a really good book. I'm enjoying reading it. I think I also want to get the audiobook. Is she doing the audiobook?
Yeah, I heard.
I think I want to get it. Denard said, someone said you could put the Moesha Diary background noise to reading this book and it gives a new level. I would agree to that. Oh, Shoni said, I'm loving the audiobook, listening to the story in her voice. Oh, I got to get it. Denard said, the African story about the moon made me so intrigued. I had that story. Let me look for the title of the one where they can fly. I think it's The People Can Fly, right?
Yeah.
I just read that.
They put it in the,
Oh, they're talking about it in the chat? Give Me Shelter said, I agree. Brandy is such a beautiful woman. And people couldn't just see that because of her features are Eurocentric. That's on our people too. I'm so glad she didn't get plastic surgery. Yes, she has a gorgeous face. Hey, Tia Bia, bust them up. What's up? Hannah said, I'm so glad the industry hasn't found their next Brandy. I hate when they do that to Black female artists. Yes. Hannah said, I still listen to Never Say Never. It's timeless. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. Indigo Girl said this chapter was so relatable, so human. Yes. Let me know when you guys find out. Yes, People Who Can Fly, and let me know when you find out the book that she's talking about. Because I would really love to have that. It's just like, just in your African American library, you absolutely need it. Let's move on to Pink Camellias. This one was the juicy meat and potatoes. So in Pink Camellias, we learn about her life in am I saying this right? Macomb, right? Because I ain't never been there. Macomb, Mississippi. And how her family, we find out how they started off in Macomb and how they ended up in LA. Her dad got hired as the minister of music at the Church of Christ in Inglewood. So, the family packed it up and headed out to Carson. But what I loved about this chapter, at least the opening, is how she talks about her upbringing and how it's just so similar. Like when Black Americans say that we have all lived the same life, it is very, very true. Like we have a culture that is unfortunately widely shared, but there is a Black American culture that cannot be shared. Like it's only us who actually know that. And just hearing Brandy talk about summering in the South and all of the culture, all of the cultural connections within the South, it's so Black American. It's such a Black American experience. And I just really loved how she talked about her upbringing in the South and how she summered in the South with her grandparents, because it just, the way this chapter was written, it was written like a love letter to Black America, right? And I what I liked about it is that I didn't expect it. I was like, oh, Brandy, this is so nice. Like this is really, really so sweet. And I'm not saying I didn't know that she was Black and proud. I'm just saying that I never knew this, right? You'd never hear Brandy talking about like being a Black woman, Black American culture, how much it means to her. And maybe she just never been asked those questions, but this was refreshing to hear from her, honestly. Not because I don't think that she loves being a Black woman, but I've just never heard her talk about it in this way. And it's like this chapter was such a love letter to Black America, and it just talks about how so much of our history is in the South. So much of our history, so much of our culture is in the South. And for many of us who have Southern roots, oftentimes vacationing in the summer is where you got that cultural, vacationing there in the summer is where you got that cultural education, being around your elders and just learning about your culture, not as a lesson, but just as an everyday way of life. And she also talks about how it was just peace for her, because Carson was really rough. And then like when they would leave Carson and go to the South for the summer, it was just so much peace. And it was a relief. Like she would just say that she would be waiting for school to be done, waiting for the hours to tick down, waiting for the minutes to tick down, to where she can run back to Mississippi.
So sad.
It is. So where she can run back to Mississippi and not only feel peace, but feel at home, feel a sense of belonging and safe. And also what really, really touched me is that she liked to see who her parents were every time they went back home. So there was obvious that it was a hustle and bustle in Carson for her family, to the point where she just felt like everything looked very different when they got there. So she couldn't really embrace Carson, because it was obvious that this place not only changed her, it changed her brother, and it also changed her parents. So she loved when they went back down south, because it was just familiarity. It was something that was normal to her. It was home. It was home. It was her happy place. The best part of this for me was when she talked about her braids, because everybody knows the braids were iconic. As soon as Brandy came out with them braids. Everybody had it. Everybody had the braid bob because of Brandy. Everybody was being like really creative with our braids. Before then, we were just maybe doing a box braid, couple of cornrows, not getting that creative. Every style that she came out with, every young girl created it. And just hearing her talk about how she just really loved her hair, right? Because it was, and she loved her hair being braided because it was a way for her to connect back home. So she loved to get her hair braided because she knew when she had to leave, she would have to go back to Carson where it's really rough. But at least with her hair braided, she had a sense of peace from Mississippi in her head. And that was because her grandmother would braid her hair and just teach her cultural traditions. So she would take that with her as a way, as a means of survival to get through to Carson, to get through her time there in Carson, and then go back to the South and get revived again when she got her hair braided. And I love how she was talking about the cultural aspect of her grandmother braiding her hair and what it meant to her. And she was just like, I just like wearing my hair like that, because not only was it a way for me to connect to a place that was my peace, it was also a way for me to represent my culture that I loved so much. I didn't know that young Black girls seeing me would be so inspirational.
Yeah.
And that chapter alone was nostalgic because I remember when she came out with that hair, right? I remember how everybody in the school the next day, like the next few days, everybody had Brandy braids, right? And then it got sad because I realized that today young Black girls don't have that. There was, back in the day, there were so many young Black people on our TV screens. Like if they weren't big superstars who were singers, they were actors. Like they were on TV shows. Like we had so much representation. And today there's barely nothing for young girls. And if there is a young Black girl in the entertainment industry, she's like 25% Black. She's not wearing her natural hair. She's not phenotypically Black. It's such an erasure that's happening now. And I'm just like, wow, I didn't know that we were spoiled to have so many young Black women back then, young Black girls back then to look up to, who knew that it would all go away so quickly. So this chapter is called Pink Camellias because in Macomb during the spring, camellias were in bloom, and Brandy said that they would, the scent from them was like so sweet, and it would not only give her a sense of peace, but also a sense of joy, because that's when she knew that this season was bountiful in a place that she loved so much and didn't want to leave. I also did not know that Brandy loved the South that much. Like we're right off grip, we're learning so much about her. And we also find out that she was, another reason why she didn't like LA, Carson, was because she was being bullied so much when she was there. Obviously, because back when I met Brandy at Thea, right? She had a little Southern drawl at that point. So probably coming from Mississippi, coming up to Carson, where you're coming from a slower way of life, and then you're coming up to this more northern area, probably a bit more fast-paced than what she's used to. Not only does she look different, Brandy has a very beautiful, unique face. She also sounds different. So people are making fun of the way she sounds, making fun of the way she looks. And also because she's just a little country bumpkin, she's not as aggressive as everybody in her neighborhood. So she's coming off as a coward because she is not as she's not ready to brawl like a lot of them. Like it's fairly odd to her to get violent.
Southern charm.
Yeah, she's a Southern belle. And so she is having a really hard time acclimating into the rougher Carson environment. Her and Ray had a really hard time getting used to Carson coming from a slower, more peaceful, more chill, more Bible Beltish place, and then coming to a place like Carson was not only culture shock for her, but it turned out to be harmful because of the bullying that she received for being different.
And it was
Her
a
and Ray.
shock to her system because, you know, coming from the country and coming to the city is
It's a big,
different
yeah.
environments. And then not only just coming to the city, you're coming to Carson
Mhm.
in Los Angeles. It's a
Mhm.
whole different ballgame.
Mhm.
That's slow versus fast.
Mhm.
You know, now she's in the fast lane.
Mhm.
It was uncomfortable for her because she came from a slow
Mhm.
place
That she didn't want to leave, that she loved.
Right.
So to come from a place that she didn't want to love to a place that's really hard, that she can't fall in love with because of all the turmoil that not just her and her brother are experiencing, but also her parents, because she talks about she loved when everybody came back down south because she could see her parents again. She couldn't see them in Carson because they had to acclimate to that environment as well. So she was having a really hard time. And this, it's seeming like I haven't read ahead, but it appears that this right here, the going back and forth from Mississippi to Carson, is creating some anxiety for her.
Yeah.
Because she will talk about how she would just be buying time until it was time to go back to Mississippi. And then when it was time for her to come back, she would just get really upset and really sick because she did not want to have to come back. So this is a kid, very, very young child experiencing this, but not really having the words to let their parents know that this is what's happening to me, because it seems like the same thing was happening to her parents. Also, I did not know that her grandfather was very active in the civil rights liberation in Macomb at that time. That was very inspirational and relatable, because for a lot of us millennials, a lot of Gen Xers have grandparents who were a part of the civil rights movement in their areas in some form. Here is why. All Black people back then were boots on the ground. Like the major civil rights movements that we learn about is, you know, with MLK and Malcolm X and those very prominent names that are, you know, getting coverage. But what people do not realize is that every place that had Black people, they were doing their own civil rights movements. So it was just very common for teenagers, you know, to just do a sit-in or to do a walkout or to do a protest. It was just the norm that Black people back then, everybody was fighting for their freedoms. So for a lot of us millennials, we have stories like that from our grandparents. For a lot of us Black American millennials, we have story in Black Gen Xers, we have stories like that from our grandparents who are just like, oh yeah, you know, we had the Philadelphia bus boycott up here. Like everybody has a story because everybody was boots on the ground for freedom. So this was relatable as well. So that's why I'm telling you guys, reading this, I'm like, Brandy, are we twins? Because it's our lives are extremely similar, but this is for Black American millennials, our lives are like, there's so many similarities, and then there's even more similarities for millennial latchkey kids. We all kind of lived the same life, but it was very sad to read at that time because, you know, she's talking about how much he fought for. We're living in this present time where a majority of what our elders have fought for is being taken away and erased. And it's just like, it wasn't even that long. It wasn't even in a span of a lifetime that we were able to have civil rights. And now they are drastically being taken away. So I'm just like, the timing of reading this chapter. I also did not know that she did not want to sing. She wasn't confident in singing, but her father had heard her voice and he wanted her to sing. And there was a moment for her to sing, but she just freaked out in church and she just did not do it. And she just was just like, I can't do it. I'm scared. She didn't know that she could sing. Her father knew. So we needed,
for those parents.
Right? Thank God for those parents. So she needed to get to a point where she knew that she could do it. Her dad knew, but she had to know that she could do it. But her father, who was a gifted singer, recognized the gift that he passed on to his child.
So you gotta understand that she was like 8.
Yeah,
8 years old. So your confidence
is not there.
Level is probably not as great. There's not a lot of fear, but she's listening to her father, which is, a music mogul. You know what I mean? He knows all genre of music. So she probably was comparing herself to him because he was great. So that's probably where her insecurity with that came from.
And also, her dad at that time was a minister of music.
Yeah.
If you ain't grow up in church, you don't know, but the minister of music is a big deal.
And always
the minister of music is a big deal. So the minister of music asking you to do a lead in church, father or not, that's a huge deal, especially for a child. Yeah, especially for a child. That's a lot to bear. But we are going to, as we continue to read on, we are going to see how much of a force her father was in her career, to not only be the first one to recognize her talent, but being her first encourager. Before we move on, what do you guys have to say about Pink Camellias? We'll start with Mama Star.
Mama Star wants to say that reading that portion and standing here today, I can see some of the things that she was talking about. Also understanding that she only could put so much in the book. Because some things are, when you read between the lines, you can see that some things are left out. But I'm glad that she put the parts about her youth in there because young people that read her book can probably relate and understand that they're not the only ones that probably went through something and that you can overcome. And how she channeled her energy into something else. You know what I mean? She could have just dealt with the bullying or the disappointment. She decided that she was going to channel her energy somewhere else because when she was in church, she was able to sing and be somebody. And that felt good for her. So her, she was a big deal at church. Her father was a big deal, but she became a big deal at church too. And that was her happy place. That's where she found happiness. And you made a statement. You said something about you and Brandy have like the same story, similar story. But she loved to sing in the choir. I had to push you up to the choir.
I didn't like that church.
You didn't like the church. You didn't like the choir.
I thought they were all scammers and they were stealing your money.
And every time, it was hostility when I have to nearly drag you up there. Nikki,
Brandy liked her church. I didn't like my church. That's the difference.
Her church.
Everybody loved me. I'm adorable.
Her church. She was probably feeling like that. I wasn't the minister of music.
You were the minister of gossip.
I was Mama Star at church.
Yeah, you were always popular, Mama. Always. Do you want to get into my story? I decided to sparkle.
Yes.
I decided to sparkle.
So I wanted to deal with those similarities because that wasn't a similarity. She loved to sing on her choir. And you didn't. And the people would say, come on, Nikki. I had you on a prestigious choir. Congressman Gray.
Of scammers and scoundrels.
And you wouldn't sing in that choir. I said, this girl. But in saying all of that, I loved the fact that she was able to find herself in finding her voice in church.
Yeah.
And that's where she was able to get her where she was able to really park fear at the door.
Yeah.
And go in church and just sing, because she became a big deal in church.
Yeah.
She became a big deal.
Well, I think she was already a big deal. I think she finally brought into the hype later, because it seems like she's always had just a great voice, but hearing that voice in a kid, she didn't know to trust it yet. But as she got older, she finally realized what she had.
Okay.
Let me hop into the comments. Denard said when she prayed about her bully, child, and then she died, I cried. Had to put the book down. She didn't know how powerful her prayers were.
And you had a similar.
Mom, we'll talk about that in Outsider.
No,
we'll talk about it in Outsiders. That's the last chapter. Indigo Girl said, I cry so much in Pink Camellias. It was like she could have been my own classmate, fellow sister. I could smell the hot comb, the blue magic.
Yeah.
I could envision the hair, pins, and clips. If she turned, I feel like the way this book was written, there's some kind of miniseries coming with it, because it's written very theatrical. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some Lifetime movie or story about it. Jasmine said, hey, NikkiNicoleStar fan, we should do a celeb book club memoirs more often. Eve, who's that girl, and JoJo Over Influence are
and
good.
Bobby Brown.
And Bobby Brown from Mama Star.
Mama Star,
Hannah said, I loved her because of her braids. Me too.
She actually turned the braids thing out, and it probably she probably wasn't even trying to do it. But like you said earlier,
she wasn't Latoya. You have to read the book.
But like a part of your I read it with mommy. But like
certain excerpts.
A part of what you were saying, we all ask for Brandy braids. And I think that sometimes when people are setting trends and they're not trying to, I love that. Just like the AI, Allen Iverson, started his braids.
Yeah.
It's just I'm being myself. This is my life, but we still today.
It was her being a Black girl,
right?
And it was so inspirational to so many Black girls.
And for us, braids is a thing. Michelle Obama.
It's a Black
getting into it now, but for so long.
She wears braids now because she couldn't when she was the first lady.
When she was the first lady.
That's a little rebellious.
It's so much about the braids, but Brandy is iconic. I mean, obviously for being the vocal Bible, but when it comes to braids, and she had all of the styles. I mean,
braids before they was out.
That's what I said. Every design she did, everybody else copied it.
Every single thing.
She had girls wearing braids to prom. Okay, and listen, she did it. Crimboulet said, hey, Nikki, loved how Brandy spoke about Whitney Houston. Me too.
Yeah.
She really, really loved her. Hannah said, yep, young Black girls don't have any representation of dark-skinned Black women with natural hairstyles. They always wear hair bone straight. Yep.
Mama starts working on her.
Hannah said, how can she be so pro-Black while that brother is so anti-Black? Listen, I think we might find out, because she talks about Ray a lot. Like, he is a part of this journey every step of the way. But at this point,
I think it was where they lived.
Yeah, but I think we're going to get into that at some point. But where the way she's talking about him now, he is just the bright-eyed and bushy-tailed little boy who like looks up to his older sister and is so happy to be wherever she is. But I think she has to. There's no way, in my opinion, that she can start talking about him like this and then like drop it.
Not address it.
Yeah. Shoni said, it made me really sad to hear about her being bullied. Yep. Yeah, it seems like it's a pattern for like special and influential people. Hello, Alandria. Her mom used to say that all the time. Her mom was like, she was bullied her entire life as a kid. She was just like, I there was never any reason, but people just picked on her. And she said, I just told her you're special.
But not you.
No, because I beat them back. That's the thing. We'll talk about it in Outsider. You got to beat them people up. They tried it. Hey, Just G said, I wanted to fight that boy. Montez. Yes. Montez. Denard said, the way she would count the days tore my heart out. Yes. And I think that is, I think she's going to talk about that developing into anxiety, because she's a child. At this point, I don't even think she's 8 years old. She is a literal baby, dreading going to Carson because of the torment that she is receiving. And I think that her parents were being very overworked in Carson because she wouldn't say anything because she didn't want her mom to worry. And I'm like, if you want to protect your mom, it's because you know that your mom is having a hard time. And if you are also protecting her and saying that you like going back to Mississippi because you could see your parents be themselves again, Carson was hard on the whole family. Over it all said, I related so much to young Brandy. The bullying was a part of my childhood as well, especially because I was shy and one of the only Black people in my area. Oh.
Aww.
Realistically, read with me. Hey, said, hey, everyone. It's Art World. What's up? I'll watch the replay. Have a fun night. Thank you for being here. Denard said the way her dad encouraged her to sing was so beautiful. It was. BY said, yikes, I just made it. Hi, chat. You're fine. We haven't even gotten into the last chapter.
And her dad is
Pop Norwood.
Pop Norwood. He is you'd be surprised how many of the people that he is a vocal coach for singers right now. Her dad he's a very good musician.
Like, y'all want to tell them that he was
Lauren's vocal coach.
Yeah, Brandy's father was my little sister's vocal coach for a while. And he's such a sweetie. He's such a sweetie.
Yeah. He's Sarai.
Who?
Her daughter.
Who?
She told her Sarai.
Who that?
Her daughter.
Oh, okay. You were saying it like it was a family friend.
Yeah.
HSG said, I like to think that Brandy was the daddy's girl. Oh, of course. Of course, she's his only daughter. Of course. Denard said, Nikki's memoir. I decided to sparkle. Period. BY says that makes a difference. If you don't like the church, you can't sparkle. You will sparkle elsewhere. Period. HSG said, oh, a Brandy biopic based on this memoir. Oh, it's written theatrically. I think it's coming. Yes.
That would be smart to do.
Yeah, the way it's written, you can see it. Especially the scenes with her and her father. Oh, they would be tear jerkers. Give Me Shelter said Anne Garcelle. Y'all say I say her name wrong. Garcelle Bouvet. I say Bouvier. Garcelle Bouvet. I would love to discuss her book if you're all game. Yeah, I'll do a vote on it. We always vote on 2 or 3 books, so this is our first one. But yeah, I'll absolutely do a vote on it. Yes, I had that too. VY said, I remember Brandy's Barbie doll in the movie inspired by Cinderella with Whitney Houston. Yes. Do you remember Brandy's Barbie doll had the baby hairs tattooed on? Oh, iconic. The first Barbie doll ever to have baby hairs from that little girl. My God, today.
Because you had everything. You know, everything.
It sure did. Okay. Let's move on to the final chapter of book club. This meeting, Outsiders. Now, Pink Camellias was setting us up, right? Outsiders, this was a hard one. This was a gut punch. She went through so much in just a few years. Just a little girl. So let's get into it. In Outsiders, we learn about her first bully, Montez. A young troubled boy who would
it's so sad.
Yeah. A troubled boy who would troubled older boy who would wait for her to walk to school. Latchkey kids, everything that she's saying in here, I'm like, people do not understand how independent kids were back then. We were walking to school, we were catching a bus, we were getting on the subway, we were 8. Ooh, the 90s were wow.
Plus you had to drop your sister off.
Yes. Latchkey kids back in the day, they were free. Anyway, he would wait for her when she would walk to school, and he would bully her. He would harass her. He would talk about her body, and it's so sad because it seems like almost every young Black girl, their first bully is always a Black boy. and his target is always their body. And it's like, Black community, we got a problem, because this just, again, that's why I'm just like, am I Brandy? Because reading this, I'm just like, yep, first bully was a boy. The first thing to talk about was my body. Like, it's just like, why is this so similar? So this young boy tormented her. This young older boy tormented her to the point where she was faking sickness. And her mom, would play along with her because of course, Brandy didn't tell her. And that's why I'm saying I feel like everybody was having a hard time in Carson, because she
mother had to go to work.
Well, I just feel like Carson was just hard for them overall, because she always says, well, I didn't want to tell her. I didn't, like, she was protecting her parents, especially her mom. So it seemed, so when a kid does that, it's because they think that, because they see or believe that their parent is going through something so hard, that they're just like, oh, I don't want to add on to it. They want to protect the parent. So she's not telling her mom what's going on. But her mom is just, thinking she's being a kid who doesn't want to go to school. And which actually is happening is that she is being tormented at like 7 years old by an older boy every time she walks to school. So now this kid, this latchkey kid, is going to school. She has now figured out a different route to her school to avoid Montez, where she is in people's backyards, climbing over gates. This child, this baby, to avoid this boy. And she said in the book, she's talking about, oh, I finally had some relief because I didn't see him for a while. And then I guess he realized that she wasn't on the trail anymore. So he found her, and his words to her when he found her, because she said when she saw him, she just got sick to her stomach. And he said, oh, you thought you were slick. And he punched her in the face. And she writes about how she was seeing stars. She had never been hit, and to be hit like that was just like so, with so much power, was just,
that's sad.
Yeah, it just so like
bad.
Shook her. And again, she's like 7 years old, y'all. So after this older boy assaults her, she runs home. And she got the key, latchkey kid. She's getting her key, trying to get in. She gets in and she asks her mom, sees her. She's like, what's going on? She sees a lip, and she like makes up some story because she doesn't want to worry her mom. And I'm like, you don't want to worry your mom because your parents are having a hard time, just like you and Ray.
Because her mom probably, her father had the job.
Yeah.
So her mom probably didn't want to go. And when you have family, your family, they lived in Mississippi where her family was at, and it probably was, a close-knit family.
Of course.
When you move somewhere,
all their family was down there.
Yeah, when you move somewhere, you're unfamiliar with it, and you have to learn, how to, day to day deal with everything. Her mother probably was looking for a job and things like that. It was other things that she saw her mother enduring that she didn't want to put this pressure.
It seems like Carson was not only more intense, it was also more expensive.
Yeah.
It just, and not only, are the parents dealing with living in a place they don't know, it's more expensive than where they come from, and they don't have any help.
And it seems like the relief was in church.
Yeah. Like
most people.
Yep. Like most people. Let's get into Miss Thompson. And I hope that adults have stopped doing this. But so the Montez boy, I think he moves away or something like that. And she develops another boy bully develops.
Her teacher,
And her teacher tells her, while this boy is tormenting her in school, the teacher tells her that he's just doing that because he has a crush on her. And we adults, y'all got to stop doing that, because what happens is you are teaching young girls to accept abuse, and that a man or a man that they're interested in, or if a man is interested in them, that he's going to harm you. He's going to be brutal.
It's okay.
And it's okay to accept that. Yeah, it's okay to accept that, because that is just showing you how much he likes you. And it's just like you're instilling that in very young girls. So when they get older and they are dating these unavailable or these men that are horrible to them and tormenting them, everybody's like, I can't believe it. But if we're instilling in our young girls that a guy,
Yeah.
that it's love or like or attraction when a boy mistreats them, how do you think that's going to develop when they get older? And I was just like, no, Miss Thompson, you should have been protecting her, and you should have been chastising that young man and letting his parents know that this boy is harassing this young girl. Something up with your son. That was not okay. You're laughing at it and calling it cute. And this kid who just got over one abuser is dealing with another, and nobody is protecting this child. The people who, and it's also, you know, and it's somebody that she really, really liked. This was her favorite teacher. So her favorite teacher is telling her this. How does that mess with your psyche as a child?
Yeah.
So that was heartbreaking. I'm just like, use your discernment. Use your discernment and help this young girl who was so fond of you. It just messes with the mind of a young girl, and that has to stop. In this chapter, we also see how church became Brandy's Mississippi in Carson. It became a safe haven for her as they spent more time in Carson. And that's something that I can relate to, that a lot of Black kids can relate to, because a lot of us were ushered into the church because our parents didn't want us to be succumb to the streets. So it's like it's two kind of Black people in the Black American community. It's the street kids and it's the church kids. Sometimes you're a mixture, right? But that's what it is. And oftentimes it wasn't about our parents being uber religious. It was about our parents trying to protect us. So you're going to church on Monday. You're going to church on Sunday. You're going to church on Monday for a choir rehearsal, and then you're going to church on Tuesday for an usher meeting. Then Wednesday is midweek service, and Thursday is all night prayer. Friday is a fundraiser. Saturday is, the mothers meeting. So there's always activities going on to keep people occupied, to keep young people occupied, to have a place for young people to go that it's not on the street. So this was also really relatable as well with how much she spent time in church. And especially if you had a parent in church who was a leader, you were there all day.
Right.
Every day at every rehearsal. So we start to see how this church now becomes a relief from her, because she's getting bullied in the school, she's getting bullied in the neighborhood, but she finds peace, she finds safety, and she finds relatability with other church kids. Because in church, if you are able to sing, it's a big deal, right? You're embraced by that. But outside of church, the kids were jealous of her and didn't like her. They would bully her because they thought that she felt special because she could sing. So she's in school and, people know that she can sing and they're treating her like garbage. But then she's in church and everybody's going up for her. So that became a place of safety and comfort for her.
Because you don't have your father in the home. And her father was there. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm like, huh?
No,
so you're talking about because her father was active. There are some kids.
Some kids are jealous of that because they don't have that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when you get down, and when you really talk about bullies, I mean, I know that this is not the topic, but one thing that I've learned about bullies, people bully you when they don't have what you have, whether you lack it.
Of course.
Once you get down to the reason why you're being bullied is because they really want to be friends with you.
Yeah.
They really wish that you had, so
yeah. They're jealous of you.
Yeah. They're jealous of you. They also have there are other issues. They also have issues with family issues. And like Toya said, sometimes they just want to be friends with you, and then and
they don't know how.
They don't know how to do it, and
they also don't know how to be honest and say, like, I didn't eat this morning. Once you get down to what it is with these bullies, it's some real things going on, but a bully tries to make you laugh or tries to toughen up because they don't want you to get in the inside of it.
Yeah, because they're going through.
What's going on with them?
Yes, because of what they're enduring in their home. I will say one thing that Brandy did. she humanized her bullies. She let us know that these people are coming from troubled homes.
Yeah.
Right. This is like, no, it's not a random act. These are people who come from violent, troubled homes. So it's not just, oh, they were picking on me for no reason. She was letting us know these kids have issues. Yeah. And speaking of bullies, we get into Shanice. One of her biggest bullies, this young lady, just like Montez, just tormented her for no reason, just wanted to push her to her limits.
She was small.
Yeah, she was small. She was different.
Yeah. Probably because of the way she talked. She probably talked different from this.
She could sing. You know, the girl said you think you special because you can sing, and
she looked like E.T.
And said she looked like E.T. And Brandy was just like, you know, oh my goodness, you know, I was, you know, back home. I'm praised for my features. Here, it's an issue. Now I'm funny looking. And she was just talking about how this girl really made it very hard for her, and it got so hard for her that she, you know, prayed to the Lord.
Bingo.
And she just said, God, please make her go away, because the girl told her that the bully was just like, you know, I ain't gonna be around much longer. So just so you know. So Brandy felt some relief because she thought the bully was moving. Yeah. Something happened, something fell in the cracks, and the bully actually did not move. She actually ended up staying, and she tormented her with that, because the bully was like, oh, you thought you was getting rid of me, I'm still here. So after so much torment, Brandy said, I'm gonna go to the king.
Okay.
And she put a prayer
Take me to
the king.
Yeah.
She put a prayer out to the Lord, and the Lord said, say no more. So Brandy came to school one day, came from vacation, and one of her friends pulled her to the side and said, girl, Shanice died. And she was like, what? She said, what? She said, yeah, Shanice died. And they about to bring a counselor to come talk to us because Shanice died. And she was like, well, what happened? And first of all, this little girl is too newsy.
Okay.
Whoever this girl was, she had all the tea on Shanice. She said that while Shanice was in that,
talking about it all
the time, Shanice was probably bullying her too.
She probably put a prayer out too. She said while Shanice was in Atlanta, because that's what Black American kids do. You somewhere in the South in Atlanta. So she said while Shanice was in Atlanta, her family got shot up. They shot up and killed the whole family. And Brandy immediately started repenting. She was just like, Lord, what was this to me? I said, the fervent prayers of the righteous availeth much. My God, today she sent out a prayer for help. She didn't know she was putting a hit out.
Okay.
Oh, poor thing.
And she just felt
she felt so bad. She said, God, I want a relief. I didn't want her to leave the earth. I said, leave the school, not the earth.
With you?
Oh my God, my mom wants me to tell this story.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
I think that's when people find out how powerful
prayer is. The power of prayer.
Wanted that to happen, but she wanted that.
Here is the thing. I was having a tough time in algebra.
And you were young.
And I was very young. And I was having a tough time in algebra. And it wasn't that I couldn't get it. My teacher, see, here's the thing. I went to performing arts school. So we had teachers, but these teachers were also like musicians and artists on the side. Like, though they were teachers on the side. Their passion, their dream was to be entertainers. But if you can't be an entertainer, then you go to this performing arts high school and you teach. And my teacher was just a little fun, but a little too wackadoodle for me. So I could not catch the lessons. So I don't play with my grades, right? So I was always getting very good grades, but this was like the one C that I had, and it was driving me crazy. So all I did was say, Lord, can you help me with this class? I kid you not. The next day, the teacher came in devastated. And we're like, well, what happened? And he lets us know that he has to leave because both of his parents are sick. And he is the only person who has to take care of those parents, so he can, so he cannot teach the class anymore. And that when he hugged us or whatever, that was like the last day we ever saw him. Fast forward, we get a substitute that comes in who ends up staying with us for the rest of the year. I was his favorite student, and I ended up getting an A in that class. So I went from a C to an A in algebra. But I remember coming home very devastated and telling my mom that I feel like I cursed him. I just felt really, really bad. My mom was like, my mom was like, what? I said, well, I prayed to God and I asked for help, but I didn't want his parents to get sick. And I just felt like it was me that did it. And, so I can relate to Brandy because
so from that point on, we had her praying for us.
So yeah, my mom, I'm doing all this crying. And after I'm done, my mom was like, well, you know what? I got some things that I need you to pray for because obviously the Lord is hearing you. Okay. And I'm like, I'm devastated and you're cracking jokes. But at that point, at a very young age, I understood the power of prayer. So me and Brandy both realized how powerful prayer is. But the bully actually, unfortunately, passes away. And then her sister comes to the school. And Brandy was just like, well, I felt bad because I feel like, she's not here because of me. So I want to make friends with the sister. I heard the girl's sister name is Cheryl. And let me tell you something. I don't know what Cheryl looks like, but I had a picture of who Cheryl is. And that kid cracked me up. Because Brandy said that the girl was playing with her ponytail or whatever, and she went over there to let her know, basically just give her condolences for her sister passing away. And Brandy said the little girl looked at her and she said, you that girl that everybody be picking on? And Brandy was like, yeah. And she was just like, why you let them do that to you? Brandy was just like,
sounded like you.
And Brandy was just like, and maybe that's why I cracking up because I was a little Cheryl. But Brandy said that she was just stuck because she couldn't believe that, a kid is talking to her like that. And so Brandy said that because she was shocked that the girl said that to her, the girl, Cheryl looked at her and laughed and she patted her on her knee and she said, if you're gonna hang with me, you're gonna need to learn how to square up. I don't chill. She said, I don't chill with no punks. Peace. I said, Carson is a little too rough for me. My God, that's how the kids is talking. The kids and Carson. She said, oh, I don't hang with punks. If you're going to run with me, you're going to need to learn how to square up. A child. Square up. They're not even preteens. These are children. But what was very odd, Brandy and this girl became really good friends. So they became such good friends to the point where Cheryl became Brandy's bodyguard and Brandy became her tutor. So she helped her in English. Cheryl helped her in violence. So when anybody tried to bother her, she got them together. And there was one part where they was asking about how Shanice died and everybody was whispering and talking about it. Brandy said Cheryl got up and punched the boy that was talking about Shanice dead in his face and said, stop talking about my sister. And Brandy said, from that day on, nobody ever spoke about Shanice. I said Cheryl was in that school lining them up. But it was just so weird. And again, I haven't read ahead, but I'm just like, Brandy, are you and this girl still friends? Because if you are, does she know this? Does she know that you put a hit out on her sister? Girl, oh my, Carson's finest is about to get you together. Does she know? Or is she finding out from reading this book? Oh my Lord. Clenched pearls. But this chapter just shows a journey of how, unfortunately, Carson made Brandy grow up very, very, very fast. She couldn't be that sweet little Southern child anymore. Right. She had to learn how to square up. And I believe that she put that in the book to show people how one child changed the trajectory of her life. Because that little girl patted her knee and said, if you're going to rock with me, you're going to learn how to fight. Period. And Brandy said, noted. So while Shanice went on to glory, allegedly, I love the kids. Brandy and Cheryl now are becoming the best of friends. But while Brandy is enriching Cheryl in her English, Cheryl is enriching Brandy in her like confidence. You know what I mean? And are you okay? Her confidence and just preparing her for the next phase of her life. So she probably didn't understand that relationship, but this young girl really helped her grow up into the woman that she was going to have to be, to not only take on Carson, but to take on the music industry. So that's why I'm just like, are you and this girl still friends?
She made her courageous, made her look at she could be stop being a scary lion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
get your courage.
Yeah, and she did get her coverage because Brandy got another bully. This bully was jealous of Brandy because she was on the drill team and she was cute and she could sing and she was stepping and she was at drill rehearsal and the bully went up to Brandy and it just beat her up. Brandy was just always getting beat up. And she said after her bully, Latoya.
That's the girl name.
Latoya. After Latoya beat her up, Brandy's friends who were all on a drill team with her was just like, are you okay? And Brandy said she gonna say to them, do I look like I'm okay? And I was just like, now wait a minute, Brandy, you was wrong. They were scared too. Them little girls were scared too. They saw Latoya pick you up by your book bag and throw you to the ground. They were scared.
Are you okay?
I hope Brandy still ain't got beef with them because she was just like, they were just looking at me. Yeah, they saw you get beat up. They didn't want to be next. You literally said that they waited for Latoya to leave and then came over to check on you because they were scared, Brandy. If you couldn't beat up Latoya, you thought that they could?
Oh, people like that, I don't even speak to you.
And that's the problem.
You can't help. Don't ever.
No, don't get mad at them kids. They were scared. So Brandy said that she got up and she said, I don't want to do rehearsal no more. So she ain't do drill team rehearsal. They finished drill team rehearsal. So she says she realized that at that moment, she was never going to be made to feel like that ever again. Like she was just like, that's it. This is the last time I'm getting bullied. So I'm thinking that she's going to tell her parents, and her parents are going to tell the school and they're going to address it. No, this sweet little Southern Belle went home and got an extension cord. Got 3. Yeah. She got 3 extension cords, braided it together, stalked that girl, found out her schedule. And listen, this is the 90s. She's a latchkey kid. Okay? Remember that. She's a latchkey kid. So they got a lot of freedom. So she knew as a fellow latchkey that there were going to be times when this girl was going to be home by herself. So she said she waited with her extension cord. And when the time comes that she was there by herself because this girl came from a fighting family and Brandy didn't want to get jumped. So Brandy went to her house and the girl opened the door. And I see that let me know right there that she bad. Because every latchkey kid know when nobody is home, you do not open the door. So she gonna open the door, and as soon as she opened that door, Brandy beat her bloody and naked like the 7 sons of Sceva. Molly whopped her with that extension cord until she got welts all over her body. And she said, Brandy said she told that girl, don't you ever touch me ever again. And the girl said, I won't. And she said she never touched me again. After that day,
because sometimes you just gotta face it.
Listen, because she got the spirit of Cheryl, and she saw that how Cheryl dealt with that boy, and nobody in that school talked about her sister. Brandy said, Connie McKeith. Brandy said, I know how to deal with bully. So I was reading that and I was like, oh my God, you were so sweet. What has Carson done to you? An extension. First of all, what is going through your mind? How you know to get not 1 extension cord, but 3 braided? She stalked this girl's timeline.
You gotta get a weapon sometimes.
She stalked her timeline and waited for her prey to be by herself and beat her with an extension. Latchkey kids, man. Latchkey
said it's do or die
kid.
bed
Do or die
Either she
bed
gonna
style.
beat me or I'm gonna beat her. And
Do
when
or
she opened
die
that door,
bed
she started
style.
mollywopping her.
Listen, y'all hear me say this all the time. I'm from Philly, where violence is not the answer, but it is an option. And I learned very, very young that the quickest way to get a bully to stop messing with you is to beat them up. Brandy figured it out at the same age as I did, and that bully left her alone. Shout out to Cheryl. Shout out to Cheryl. Before we get into showcase the final chapter, what do you guys have to say about Outsider, Mama Star?
I just feel like Brandy had enough.
Yeah.
And she said, listen, I'm not gonna take this no more. And it's bad when you get a person to that. Because she hit her with that, but that could have been really dangerous. You know what I mean? She could have, hurt her really bad or something. Because fear will make you do something like that. She was scared of that girl. So she said, listen, I'm tired of her. And she got the courage to go across that street and hit her. And, I hate when parents of bullies try to act like they don't know that their kid is a menace. You have to deal with that. Which takes me back to this funny story. Nikki came running home one day.
I knew he was going to tell this story.
And I am 9 months pregnant. She comes home saying, I've been robbed. I've been robbed.
I've
been robbed. I'm just like, what? I can't hardly get up because I'm bigger than, listen, I'm the biggest that I've ever been, and I can't get up. And I'm saying, robbed. So I immediately, she said, call Mr. P. Oh, Mr. whoever his name was. So I called my husband. And I said, Nikki been robbed. Nikki's been robbed. He was like, she been robbed. What do you mean she been robbed? I said, she been robbed. She just came home, she been robbed. So he said, okay, I'm on my way. Then it must have hit him. And he calls me back. And he said, she been robbed. For what? What did they rob her for? So then I said, Nikki, what you get robbed for? She got robbed for her Slim Jim.
A bag of candy.
A bag of candy.
That we used to get from the store.
Guys, y'all are talking about what it was. I was robbed. He took it out my hand.
Nikki.
And you took off running.
I sure did.
He liked you.
But there we go with that again.
See?
But
that's not okay.
But this is the thing.
And that's what everybody was saying. Oh, he has a crush on me. That's not okay.
You, but the thing about it is,
that's not okay. I wanted him punished. I took off running and he was trying to run and give it back to me. I said, no, you're going to get in trouble. I said, you're going to get in trouble. He was like, Nikki, wait. I said, nope, you're going to get in trouble. He tried to give me back everything. I said, nope. I ran all the way home. I locked my door. Him and his friends was outside. I said, nope, you're going to get in trouble. And what happened? He got in trouble.
So the next day,
play with somebody else.
Come up to the school. They got the principal, that everybody in the school that could was down here with me.
I let them know they got a future felon on their hands.
And Nikki is just as dramatic as she is now, how she told the school. And so the principal says, call your mother, because she wanted to bring the mother in. Mm-hmm. So she could, because I was there. So she wanted to bring the mother.
Oh, I made my mom come up to the school.
And the mother is like, well, I'm at work. I can't get off. And the mother was so embarrassed. Mm-hmm. She apologized. Oh my God, she was so embarrassed.
She cussed him out. She made him apologize to me. And he gave me back the money that I spent on my Slim Jim and my mints and my pickle that he stole.
Oh,
she said, put him on this phone.
Oh, I can hear him go, yeah, Mom. I'm sorry.
No, yes,
Yeah,
Mom.
Mom. Yes, Mom. I'm sorry.
Yes, Mom.
I
sorry.
mean, yes, Mom. Okay. I'm
She
sorry.
said, your lunch money, give it to her now.
And I put my hand out and I took it. Thank you. It's
and
nice
the
doing
next
business
thing I
with
know, he was hanging up the phone because she hung up her phone on him.
you. She
And
cussed him out.
That boy and his friends were so terrified to even walk on the same side of the street.
Imagine liking a girl, not knowing how. I mean, that's how boys play. They take your bag.
No,
you run after
Miss
them.
Thompson.
Okay.
No.
They take your bag. You run after them.
His
No,
friend
Miss
even was
Thompson.
trying to give Nikki, and she took off. She was
From that moment on, they knew not to play with me.
she was
They knew not to play with
This
me.
is sad. As a kid,
she
you
was
talking about
Jackie
they
Joy
do
in
not to
person because she took off running.
I said, you're going to get in trouble. And boom. And because they all knew I was telling the truth. They all knew I was telling the truth. He got in trouble.
But you didn't even know his name. His sister was in your class.
Mm-hmm.
And you said her brother.
Yeah, I said her brother. It's ugly.
Oh, that's.
I said her brother. Him.
Now I will say, from what Mommy said, is that the little boy wasn't trying to rob Nikki. He was trying to play with her.
You don't play with me by stealing my things.
Nikki,
No.
were kids. But see, that's the thing.
Miss Thompson, I rebuke it and I don't agree. I don't agree. I think I saw him, like 10 years later? What was it, like 10 or 15 years later?
No, it wasn't 10 or 15 years later.
No, I think I was in college.
No, she saw
you
that
graduated
boy.
from college.
She
And
saw-
we seen him at the
He shouldn't have spoken.
gas station.
I wouldn't have spoken.
And he was like, Nikki.
Guys, you know he was trying to flirt with me again? I said, you robbed me as a child. He was like, oh, we were kids. I said, you robbed me as a child.
That's crazy.
I wasn't interested then. I'm not interested now. And
He
he could not believe it.
He said, you're still pretty, Nikki. Can I have your phone number?
Loser.
He was like, no.
Loser.
You trying
Mine
to
was
rob
like, oh, that's the guy. I said, yes, that is the guy that robbed me as a child. It was like, oh,
He was
like you still mad about that? Yes, you loser. I don't play that. The robbing because I got a crush on you. Get out of here.
Nikki.
Absolutely
But
not.
robbing is that's a powerful word. Robbing. A Slim Jim.
He stole from her.
And a mint ball.
And a pickle.
And it was like $1.50 from Tally
So
Ho.
basically, let them know why. Like, basically, we went to the store before we went to school. And
Yeah, that was so. I grew up in Mount Airy. We everybody from if you're from Mount Airy, you know about Tally Ho. It was back in the day. It was Tally Ho. It was a pizza shop, but it was the Wawa is still on that corner because I went to Houston. So every time all the kids from Houston, when we would leave school, some of us would go to Wawa and get a hoagie. Some of us would go to the pizza shop and get a slice for $1, or we would go to Tally Ho. I would mix it up. I would go to Tally Ho. I would go to Wawa sometimes, get myself a little hoagie and some peanut chews, and then get a little Wawa iced tea. Or I would go to the pizza shop and get a slice for $1 and a hug for 25 cents. This day, I was on my Tally Ho.
No, y'all went to Tally Ho. All y'all gathered in there.
Yes.
The man said, some of y'all.
Mom, you gave me like $2. I had to stretch it whenever I could. So I went to Tally Ho and I got my peppermint ball for 5 cents. I got my pickle for 50 cents. And I got my Slim Jim.
The pickle was 25.
The pickle was 25. No, the Slim Jim was 25. The pickle was 50. And I got that. They put it in a little bag. They put it in a little paper bag. And I don't know, did anybody do this? But I used to eat my pickle and Slim Jim together. That was my thing. That was my thing. And I took a bite out of my pickle, and before I could take a bite out of my Slim Jim, he sold my whole bag. And I took off running. And I said, you're going to get in trouble. Oh my God. See, me and Brandy. Shay said, I 100% agree, Nikki. We have to stop telling girls a boy bullying them means that he likes them. You're teaching them to accept domestic violence. That's why you got to teach your daughters to hit. You got to teach them. a boy pushes you because he likes you, you push him down a flight of stairs. Because that's how he knows that ain't the woman to mess with. BY said,
even empathy said Nikki called authority.
I sure did. I sure did. And I told my mother, get your husband on the line. I need some protection. BY said,
I'm on my way home now. I'm on my way home.
Tell him to pack up from work. I got robbed. Let's go. He said, what did she have?
What did she have in her possession that she could get robbed?
I got robbed. BY said, this may be the reason some of us Black women accept struggle love. Talk about it. Talk about it. Denard said, church is my safe place. Yep, many of us. Denard said, until they found out I was gay, and then it was another story. Yep, that's the thing. I think she may get into it later on because I do remember Brandy talking about how eventually her family had to leave the church because she was getting far too popular, and they wanted her to make a choice. So I don't know if she's going to,
like Michael Jackson.
So I don't know if she's going to talk about it in the book, but I do remember her talking about it in the interview. Not about the book, but just her life in general. But that's it. Like, so because the streets are so outwardly aggressive and scary, right? A lot of us will run to church because it does not present itself the same way as the streets. But oftentimes you're running to church as a safe haven, and it's just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than the streets, because the streets present themselves differently. But the church, many churches are just the same. It's the same demon, a different outfit. So it's unfortunate, but it happens. That's why often a lot of us are, especially my generation, is deconstructing, man. Over it all said, don't forget all the alternative child holiday activities, Harvest Festival versus Halloween, for example, Hallelujah Nights. Aoife Empathy said, my family was divided religiously, one half Baptist, the other half Catholic, but my great uncle was a pastor and his church was the only one that felt like home. I love it. And there's so much of our culture that is in the Black church. Mm-hmm. So much culture and history is in the Black church. BY said, I have a different experience. People who invested in me were white male teachers. I had great teachers overall. The bad ones were few. The good ones, it really encouraged me. Oh, I love that.
Good. I love that too.
K-Dad said, then the bully died, child. And that's when Brandy realized the power of prayer. Give Me Shelter said, I can relate. Kids were mad because our family wasn't a mess. Yep. Now I get that those kids couldn't work out their feelings. I feel like I went to school with psychopaths who actually became good citizens. Yeah. Aoife Empathy said, Shanice dying was so unexpected. I felt so bad for that Brandy blamed herself. Yeah. Yeah, Denard said, girl didn't just die, she was murdered with the whole family.
That's sad.
Yeah, and that's not on you, Brandy. That's on that family putting that child in that position.
Because I thought about that. What was it that family into?
They were selling drugs, Mom. That was the 90s. So they were probably big time drug dealers.
And they came and killed
everybody,
and that child had to with it.
They came to rob them. Give Me Shelter said, that's the ancestors bringing that little girl peace. Rest in peace, Shanice, child. Shoni said, the way my jaw dropped when Brandy said Shanice was shot. Cameron said, I was bullied growing up. I was literally bullied by this one boy in elementary school. He bullied me because I was good at drawing. And I had both of my parents in the house. Yep. Give Me Shelter said.
Let's talk about that, because that is that's sad.
Yeah.
That, kids are jealous because you have two parents at home and they act those feelings out.
Mm-hmm. Well, you also have to realize these are children who were experiencing the result of the crack and AIDS epidemic and Bill Clinton's 3 strikes you're out rule. So it was that affected the Black home. The Black home was very structured, and now all of a sudden the Black father is no longer there. Yeah. 3 strikes, he's in prison for life. Yeah. Crack taking the parents out of the home. AIDS taking the parents, and the village, taking the village out. So these kids are living in that with no support, no help. Nobody knows how to help them because everybody's going through it. Brandy is speaking of how she as a child is being tormented. but she don't want to say anything because she don't want to
can't
worry her.
verbalize
She
it.
can't verbalize it, and she doesn't want to burden her parents.
Mhm.
Why would you think that unless you see your parents going through it? Yeah. Yep.
That is sad. That's really sad.
Yes. BY said there were no bullies. There were bullies too. My experience with death was when my best friend died when we were 10 years old. We had so many things in common. Her death became my inspiration to go into healthcare. Oh, that's so beautiful, BYs.
Yes, that is.
I know she's very proud of you. Over it all said, I love Cheryl. This girl was too grown and took no stuff. I respect a girl like that. I'm just like, to be like 6 or 7 years old and say, oh, I don't hang with no punks. Girl, what? You just got here. If you want to hang with me, you got to learn how to square up.
Period.
Oh, my goodness.
Period. No, I'm in school and I don't take nothing from none of these people. So you got to be the same way.
Cheryl told her to tighten up. Tighten up. And Brandy sure did. With her extension cords.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. But Mama Star was bullied.
Mom, we've talked about this.
Connie McKeithen.
Mom, we've talked about this.
What?
You were the bully.
No, Connie
But sometimes
McKeithen.
she did get bullied.
No, Connie McKeithen was in the 6th grade. I was in the
You had
5th
him out.
grade. No, I didn't. This boy come
What? First of all, why are you giving her full government
I
name?
know, Mom.
Connie McKeithen.
No,
I
no,
want them to know that she was a big bully.
no,
And
no.
she was like Shaq size.
Mom,
I was
no.
I was little.
Give me shelter. Said those supernatural hit jobs are something fierce,
I
child.
didn't finish what I was saying.
No, because you don't know who knows her on here. So
because
please.
he's going to say that this guy named Carl.
Randy changed the names. Mommy not even
No,
changed
she
the
didn't. She
name.
gave real names.
No, that is not Montez and Shanice.
Well,
Those are not there. She even said it in the preface that she would change the names to protect people. Well, she had to because that's real. That happened. Like that's her history.
Well, anyway,
Mom, I'm moving on.
Doris Day.
I'm moving on. E
No,
for
she gonna
emphasis.
say that,
Mom, I'm
before-
moving
okay.
on.
Well, I took care of that booty. I tell you that much.
Sure did.
I took care of her.
E for empathy said, when Brandy literally whooped old girl, I couldn't stop saying, I know that's right. Diabolical planning.
Me
But it was
too.
absolutely necessary. I felt really sad because she was like such this sweet little Southern child to now she's like creating weapons and stalking.
It's the same thing.
Stalking
I
a
did
fellow
with
child.
Doris
Oh
Day.
Lord. Denard said the way Brandy collected those extension cords and then waited for her new bully to
Okay.
get home and beat her down. I said, Brandy, yeah, that was a little. I'm like, you're a child. That's a little scary, Brandy.
No, that isn't. That's fed up.
Yeah.
That's fed up.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be scared of her no more. I'm not going to be running home.
E
Now
for
she done
empathy
knocked
said.
me down at,
E for empathy said. Brandy said sometimes you gotta pop out and shout.
You gotta show.
Period. Over it all said, I love how Brandy solved her bully problem. That's the only way to
Okay.
stop him. True. Very, very true. Shoni said, I wonder if Brandy is ever braiding her daughter and it takes her back to when she was braiding those extension cords. I thought you were going to talk about it takes her back to her grandmother braiding her hair. BY said, I saw myself in Brandy's story. Inspiration comes from mysterious places. True. Very, very. But what did she watch to even know that braided extension cord tactic? Did she learn that from Cheryl? Lord. I'm gonna get a couple more, and then we're going to get into the last chapter. El Tavina said, "Sorry for bringing this, y'all. It's about another queen, but other Queen Alandria is in." I saw that. I saw that she was in Lagos. I said, "Girl, you were just in Houston." That passport is stamped.
That's never a problem to bring up her and Nick.
Mom, I know you're the president of their fan club. Nobody's coming against them.
No, I'm saying it's welcome.
It's
Whatever
welcome.
we're talking about.
BY said parents of bullies know their children. I know that.
Bingo.
The parents were probably the parents are absolutely bullies. It seems like that was a drug dealing family. We just got to be honest. It seems like, you just don't roll up on the family and just kill all them people and kill the baby. They was doing something. Thank you. Over it all said those boys needed a lesson. Good for you, Nikki. Boys are not allowed to abuse because they like you. Thank you.
Right.
Oh, El Boogie said, what's a peanut chew? Is that the same as circus peanuts? No, it's a chocolate candy bar with peanuts in it. It's so good. Is it only an East Coast thing?
Yes, I think it is. El Boogie don't know what the peanut
It's
chew is.
so good. I used to get that and Chico Six.
That's probably Philly.
Yeah.
Probably Philly.
It might be like tri-state area.
Yeah, what was we just at and we saw some at
Five Below.
Five Below.
Well, was that here or was that
Yeah,
Philly?
we were going
To the movies.
Mom, it's not illegal to bring candy to the
Yes,
movie.
it is because they sell it.
Girl, they
You
must.
can't bring.
Well, don't sell Twizzlers for $12.
Well, that's how they make their money, but yeah, you can't bring that in.
The Nicholas Express said my high school bully tried DMing me when he was getting his wisdom tooth pulled. Bullying is no way to flirt. Oh, weirdos. Give Me Shelter said I'm really enjoying this book discussion. Great pivot and decision, Nikki. Oh, thank you so much. One Mill said, come through my area. I was just at the Wawa a couple of weeks ago and grew up on Stanton Ave in Philomena Street and had family on Germantown Ave. What's up, Philly? What's up, Philly?
In the house.
Overall, I have been hearing about that bully since I was a child. That lady's afraid of my mom today. I don't know this story the way my mom tell it, and then we ran into that lady. That lady's afraid of my mom, so I'm not getting into it.
No, she's gonna try to mess with somebody shorter than her.
And you let her know.
Yeah, I was scared when I first went in there, but I just went in on her. When she fell, I said, "Oh!" and I just whooped her behind.
I wish y'all could see the reenactment.
Yeah.
I wish y'all could see the
That was
reenactment.
my friend. She had stopped hanging with me because she was scared too. As I went on and beat her up, here comes Celine Jones talk about some which way you walking home, girl.
So you had a Brandy.
Yes, I did.
Cheryl.
And then I seen her years later. I was like,
Did you see her at Acme?
No, we was at the shop, right? She was a cashier. She was a cashier.
Oh.
I said, well, no, she ain't no cashier. A big bully, big and bad bully is at the checkout.
Well, nothing wrong with the cashier.
We're glad you got that out, Mama Star. Let's get into the last chapter showcase. So
it's
this
showtime
at the Apollo tonight. So this is where Brandy steps into being a star. In this chapter, we learned that Brandy is a student of her father. She details her father, a talented musician, and how she was able to grasp harmonies and understandings of those things because she studied under him. We also learned she became a choir director at 10. She was in the church.
Okay.
She was in the church. But I love how she details her father's musical history while also showing us how much he breathed life into her. He's always telling
her.
Yes. He taught her, he was always telling her, you can do it.
Yeah.
Even when she thought she could, he said, no, you can do it. God gave you, God gave you this gift. It is for you to share it. I will say, I feel like that the encouragement of God gave you this gift for you to share. I do think that maybe that was too much of a mantle to put on her at such a young age, because she talks about it often. And I think I haven't read ahead, but I think that may get into a place where
you think it was too heavy.
It was too heavy for a child. I feel like that was too heavy of a mantle.
I don't
to put. Hold on, I feel like it was too heavy of a mantle to put on her, because I feel like it was giving her this responsibility from God to do something that we see her starting to enjoy. But I feel like that mantle is going to become a burden for her later on. I don't know. I haven't read ahead, but I was just like, he keeps on telling her that. And I'm like, I think that's great. But I feel like for a child, that might be too much responsibility. What are your thoughts?
I don't think so. That's just like telling a child you can do anything that you put your mind to.
Mm-hmm.
If you just study your craft, you can do this or you can do that. We have to encourage our kids. And he saw something in his daughter at a very young age, and he inspired her. He encouraged her. He motivated her. He kept her going, and she loved her father. She thought her father was a hero. She looked up to him. He was
he's still with us.
She looked up to him at that age. He was one of the greats, and she knew it. She seen him in action. She seen how he was able, what he was able to do musically, and she admired that in him.
Yeah.
And with him telling her she could do it too, I think was the best thing that he could do for her.
Yeah, that was my only thing. I wasn't
battery in her back.
I wasn't just talking about that. I was just,
you talk about the heaviness of what he was saying.
Yes, with the whole thing about the Lord. That was all I was saying. I felt like everything else that he was doing, I thought it was extremely positive. But to put a mantle on a young person that God gave you this gift and you're supposed to share it because God gave it to you, when she has apprehensions about it, it's like,
God gave you this gift.
Well, I'm just saying, but it's like now you're putting emphasis on, even if it makes you uncomfortable, you still have to do it because this is a gift that God gave you to share. And I think that could get, I think we can get kind of dicey for children. But now we see her getting into her confidence with singing, and how as she studies under her father, she's at the choir rehearsals, right? If your dad is a minister of music, you're at the choir rehearsals. So she's in the children's choir while her dad is directing the adult choir. She's helping him with harmonies, and she's just a child. So when she became of age for him at 10, he was just like, well, the youth choir needs a choir director, and it should be you. The youth choir, she said it was like from 8 to 16. And so when she was announced as the youth choir director, the 16-year-olds was just like, this is a kid. Like, what are we doing? But she was just like, I had to prove to them that I knew what I was doing. And she said, we had our first choir rehearsal meeting, and she was grasping them harmonies, telling them how to do something, and they actually sounded better than they were the last rehearsal that they had, to the point where even a teenager was just like, we sound really good. Yeah. So just reassuring her that you got something there. So we are starting to see that Brandy has this very, very supportive environment. And because of that supportive environment, we are able to see her confidence grow.
And her father was teaching her how to use her gift.
Yes.
She already had the gift. He was teaching her how to use it. Because sometimes if we don't teach, it'll sit dormant.
Yeah.
So he was teaching her what she had, that it was an instrument, that she could, and showing her how to use it. And she really did. She used it very well, which you still can see that comes out of her musically now.
Yeah.
She still is working that. So it started in church where most of them start from.
Yes.
And
that's where the training is.
I think she had an excellent teacher. She had an excellent teacher, which was her dad, because he's not only teaching her, but he loves her.
Yeah.
That's his daughter. So he's going to be honest. He's going to tell her the truth. He spent countless hours with her, teaching her, showing her, to the point where she knew G key and H key and I key and O key, and telling people, well, that you need to bring that down a little bit, or you need to add this, or you need to add this. So he was a very good teacher, and it seems like she was a great student.
And he was very supportive. Yeah. So he wasn't stern with her. He just allowed her to really be able to navigate this gift while he overlooked. Like he wasn't, like I said,
he wasn't a Joe Jackson.
Yeah, he wasn't a Joe Jackson, right? He saw that she had a gift. But he waited for her comfortability. Yeah. And then he would, pull some things out. But he waited for her to get to the point where she felt comfortable, and then he just guided her. He seemed like a very gentle teacher. We also, since to piggyback off of what I just said about her father, before we get into that, for those of you who saw Polly as a kid, when Brandy was talking, when she described this scene of her directing the choir, did it remind you of Polly in the church scene where she's like singing and everybody starts singing? I was like envisioning this, and I was like, This is the poly church scene. That's what it was giving. But anyway, we see in her journey to stardom that the reason why Brandy was able to have this confidence and get to where she is because there were elders in her life who were instilling confidence in her. It was her father, it was her mother, it was the parishioners at the church. It was Miss Juanita, telling her, you got it, you should direct the choir, you're talented. So she was always affirmed by the elders in her life. And although there were the kids who were bullying her, the adults in her life let her know that she was special and she had something, and they always affirmed her. And I think that's very important because she started off extremely insecure and unsure about her talents. It was the adults in her life who told her that she had a gift, that it was special, and they helped navigate that. And every time she felt insecure, she was affirmed by the adults that not only was she in the right place, but that she also had a talent that was only going to grow. So I thought that was very important to put in there, because had she not had that support, right? Because we have the juxtaposition of this young lady with this talent who was being affirmed by the adults in her life next to the Shanices, next to the Latoyas, next to the Montez, who probably all could have had some talent or just be some kind of they could all have been something special, but they did not have the same environment. So we see this young lady who is being tormented by these people who don't have that support, who are not affirmed, who are in an environment of violent adults, of adults who are going nowhere, of adults who will put them in a position where they would lose their lives. And then you see this young lady who is in an environment where the adults are rooting for her to win and pouring into her because they want her to win. And you see how far she's able to grow, opposed to those young people who do not have the same environment support system. And I thought that was also very important.
Also, she was able to excel like she did because of her environment, because of those people who helped her, but because she was in a safe place. So she loved to go to church because
it was a safe place for her.
It was a safe place, but it was also a place where she learned, where she grew.
Trained, we also see now that Brandy we also learned that now that she has this confidence, she wants to pursue singing outside of church. So we go from seeing her as this young girl who didn't even know that she had this gift, who was frightened and did not want to sing, to now she's just like, not only do I want to sing, I want a record deal. She wants to go far and beyond. And what I love is that she said she wanted to do something, and her parents said, bet. Let's make it happen. I love that they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know how they were going to do it, but their daughter said that she wanted to do something, and they said, absolutely, let's make it happen. She found the talent show. She said, Dad, I want to do it. He said, fine, we're going to sign you up. Her mom said, if you're going to sing in this and you're a star, you need to look like a star. So they immediately came together when she said that she wanted to do something. It wasn't, oh, next week. Oh, not right now. Oh, I don't think you're good enough. Her parents said, let's do it. We got you. I think that was also really important to see. Not only is she poured into, she's affirmed, she's encouraged, she's supported.
And you see how,
and no idea is too small or dumb.
Exactly. And you
they
see
are
how
for
she
it.
excelled because her parents were supporting her.
Yep. Her mom got her that Easter outfit, that jean set, and put a bow on her head and said, now you're ready to be a star. And again, they don't know what they're doing, but their daughter wants to do this. They weren't setting her up to be like this superstar. They were just supporting their daughter and her aspirations. And you see what you're able to do when you have supportive parents. I also found out in this book that her and Tyrese are childhood friends and still friends to this day. And she was so enamored by how confident and talented he is. She was just like, this little kid was singing with so much confidence. He was not afraid of anything. But I didn't know that.
From talent shows.
Yeah, because they were all in the same thing, like
market.
working the same market. So her and Tyrese do this talent show. She ends up killing the talent show. And because she does such a good job, she meets Whitney Houston's music director, Ricky Minor. He tells her that she's great. And, they exchange information. And this goes again to what I was saying, how this movie is written like it's theatrically written, where I can like see it playing out like if it's in a movie or a miniseries, because I can absolutely see this moment with Brandy coming off stage and Ricky behind the stage like, hey, you got something going, give me a call. Like I could actually see that happen. It's written very, very well, but extremely theatrically. And
he didn't say give me a call.
No, he gave her their information. He said that she has very special talent.
Yeah, but she was saying that she knew him because he was Whitney Houston's musical director.
Yeah, that's what I said, Mama Star.
Let me finish my thought.
Okay.
And she called him out because she felt like getting to know him, because
we get her closer to Whitney.
Right, Whitney was her idol. She wanted to meet her, so she reached out, like said something to him, and that's what got the conversation started.
You are absolutely right. So with this, he gets her tickets to go to the Whitney Houston concert, because Whitney was in town at that time touring.
He said when she comes in town, I'll get you tickets. Tickets. The reason why I pointed that out is because you know how people be talking and all this. They in the business of the next time I'm here, I'll get you and all that. Because we went to this church and this man told us to be you. The next time you come, let them know that tell them to get me. I sit on the first row and I'm gonna pay for y'all, whatever. And we ain't never seen him. But anyway.
Not Ricky. Ricky kept his word.
I'm saying that he did when she finally came.
Yeah, he got her 2 tickets. Her and her mother.
For her and her mother. 2 tickets. I don't even know if they was in the same arena that Whitney.
Brandy said she couldn't even see Whitney she couldn't even see the performances. They had her in the they had them in the nosebleeds.
No, she said they was hiding.
They was hiding in the nosebleeds. And Brandy said, listen, I came here to meet Whitney Houston. I'm going to go meet her. So she took off running, and she was telling these people that, she put her hand out saying, hi, I'm Brandy. I'm going to be famous one day. And she had on her Whitney Houston jacket that she made. And she was too much. Her mom was like, now you got to calm down. And basically saying, if you don't calm down, you won't go to this concert. She was doing too much. She was too excited to see it. And, her mom thought it's probably kind of weird, right? You ain't never met this lady, So they finally get to the concert. Brandy don't like the seats. She wants to get down to go further. I guess because she was so adorable, security just kept on letting her go. She got all the way to backstage to where she saw Ricky. He hugged her. He said to her, I'm sorry, but Whitney is too tired. She's not going to be able to see you. So Brandy, she fell out because she was so sad that she couldn't meet Whitney.
And she spent all of her time
trying to get to see Whitney. She missed the concert. And she just, was just so heartbroken. And this is the thing. This goes back again to having a good support system, because her mother wipes her tears and she tells her, all cream rises to the top.
Yep.
And you are going to meet Whitney at the top. Now, I know her mom was just encouraging her. She didn't know that she was prophesying into her child's life, because that is exactly what happened. My God, today. Mother thought that she was just encouraging her baby. She was speaking into her life. But let me tell you something. It's a powerful prophetic ministry in that family.
Yeah.
Like whatever they speak comes to pass. My God, today. But I really love that, although her mother, when they were at this concert, although her mother was apprehensive, she was like, Brandy, calm down, Brandy, calm down. She was right there behind her daughter.
Yeah.
She was right there with her. She was like, Brandy said her mom was apologizing to people because she was like, I got to rush down there to see Whitney, but she was with her child. She didn't say, no, sit down, we're not going to do this. She she supported her.
That's how
And that's the thing. Yes, Brandy has support. And so that's, we're going to see some things happen. There's going to be some bad decisions made, but they supported that baby. Yeah. They really, really did. And they encouraged her and spoke life into her.
One of the things I wanted to point out is when she met Ricky, she said something that cringed me because, you got to be very careful in business about what you say and what you do, because in this music business, this entertainment industry, there are predators. And one of the things she said is, would you please introduce me? I will do anything to meet her. Yeah. And that right there, I cringe because what that looks like. That's her innocence as a child. I'll do anything. I'll sing for her. But some adult with a sick mind will take that somewhere else. And that I just, oh my goodness, it was like a balloon deflated when I read that, because when you say you'll do anything, oh, you will. And I remember seeing The Facts of Life. And this man was on there. He was eating ice cream with Arnold.
That's not The Facts of Life. Different Strokes.
The Facts of Life.
Mom, you don't gotta explain that. That's
that Nikki knew.
No, but you're about to explain an iconic episode. We all saw the child molester episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we all saw that.
That's what it could lead into.
Yeah.
When you're saying,
well, hello, Epstein files. Predators are very much apparent in running things.
And a plug to my mother's book, I decided to laugh. In Mommy's book, she talks about how predators don't have a look.
Yeah, you don't.
Yep.
Yeah,
predators do not have a look. They can be a family friend, but in this business, and I think it's important, and I'm glad that she wrote that in there. But I think it's important that people know, because not just in those type of relationships, but in any relationships, you can get caught up in that. Like, I'll do anything. Once people know,
that you're desperate,
like once they know
they'll take advantage of that.
Trust me, it's in their head. Like, I remember they said they would do X, Y, and Z. That's how people get taken advantage of. That's how people, because they're being sincere. They really actually are being sincere.
And she's a child with dreams and hopes and aspirations. And Whitney Houston is her idol. So she met this man that is close to her. So she's saying, she wants him to relate her message to her. That's what she's saying. And she's a child. Yeah. So she don't really understand the weight of what she's saying. She's an excited child. And people take advantage of kids. And that's all that I wanted to point out, because I'm saying you'll do anything. And her mother's right there. But her mother is trying to be supportive.
And again, these people don't know about the entertainment industry. They don't know what to do. But she's just, this is what our kid wants to do.
And
they're from Macau. So she's just trying to support her child in anything.
And her child was able to get her from all the way up in the nose, 6 all the way down. So she was just being supportive, like any,
like any parent,
that wants their child to succeed. And it's just,
or that's what a supportive parent looks like. Here's the thing: I do think that there's parents out there that would not have done that. Doesn't necessarily mean that they don't love their kid. But that's a different type of parent. That's why I said, reminds me a lot of you. Parents that I'm going to go to that concert with you. I'm going to take you here. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to be there with you. Also, you really need someone with you in these moments, because that's a very vulnerable moment. You need direction. You need guidance. You need help. Sometimes the parents, though, because we really need another top. We need another.
Well, here's the thing, Latoya.
But I took Lauren to see B2K.
Hold on. Latoya, I thank you for your contribution. But you didn't read the book, so you be going off for a tangent.
I didn't read the book. No.
You did not.
I didn't read the book. I read it with Mommy.
I don't want you to read it with mommy. I
And-
want you to read the
but
next
in
chapters. You're going to read them on
But
your own.
in this particular Pat, me and mommy talked about this because a lot of these things in this book, some of this stuff is parallel to our life, but that is a
Told you
very
I'm Brandy.
that is a very Toya Nikki Lauren thing
Mm-hmm.
to want to get backstage or want to get somewhere
Well, Toya and Lauren.
or want to get down somewhere.
Yeah, Toya and Lauren, not Nikki.
Nikki, all cream rises to the top.
But
I'll see you at the top.
But
Okay.
Nikki gets what she wants. If
Period.
Nikki wanted to get backstage, let me tell you something. Nikki will get backstage.
Now, if it was like a La Crusade thing, I would get backstage. Anyway, before Latoya brings up another topic, now we're getting introduced to Chris Stokes. So Brandy and Ray J, they're doing all these talent shows, and that's where everybody is meeting each other. So she did a talent show. She did really, really good. She met Chris Stokes there because at the time he was managing Immature, and Immature was blowing up. They were doing the same thing. Everybody was all doing these talent shows. I don't know if it's like a 90s kid thing, but like, remember back in the day when like everybody was auditioning for Disney? Remember when they would be coming to your town and doing those auditions? It was like a big deal. You also have to realize back then, sports was not the way to get out of the hood. It was entertainment.
Yeah.
Like, because everybody was getting deals, either being singers or like, especially coming up as a black kid.
The
You
Mickey
saw-
Mouse Clubhouse.
Yes, you saw black kids on TV, and then you saw them as huge entertainers. So that was what parents were focusing on with their kids. Like, it was entertainment. Now it's sports. But at that point, entertainment was the way to get kids out of the hood because there was just so many black people, especially young black people. It was so many of them working. And it was just like, oh, this is something that we think can actually happen. So they were all doing these talent shows. Remember, back in the day, we had all those showcases, Al Albert Showcase, Star Search. Like every show was like, we have these singing competition shows. But back in the day, it was so many talent shows in person or in TV. So that was like the way to get out of the hood is to either be a singer or be an actor. So entertainment was our sports back in the day. So Brandy was, doing a talent show in Star Search circuit, and that's how she was meeting everybody. That's how she was meeting Tyrese. That's how she met Immature. And then that's how you meet Chris Stokes, because Immature was like
He was managing them,
and they were doing these talent shows, and they were really, really killing it. I will say I loved how she wrote in the book. She said, listen, Immature was great. They were killing it. They had stage presence, the vocals, they were doing so well. But she said they should not have been singing what they were singing. And that was another issue back in the day. These child stars, these child singers and performers, they were singing and performing very explicit songs for young people. That was just the time. I don't think that's necessarily happening today, but back then they were all singing very inappropriate songs.
It wasn't a censor like it is.
It wasn't as much censorship back then as it is now. But anyway, she performed in the same talent show, and she saw Immature, and she was just like, oh my God, they're so great. She didn't think that she could ever, she didn't think that her talent was as good as theirs, but Chris did. He heard her and he was just like, yeah, I want to manage you. When she said that Chris Stokes was 22, I was like, back in the day, young black men were running that music industry. Like when I found out that
he was very young.
Yeah, 22. When I found out that Biggie and Tupac died at 24, I was like, oh my God, they were so young. So young. Puffy was running at 19. Like, I don't know how them young black men was able to get into the music industry and run stuff the way they were running, but Chris was managing them, and he wanted to manage Brandy, but he wanted to manage her in a girl group. Like, he already had two girls, and he wanted her to be the lead singer in the girl group. And she said when she found out about it, her stomach dropped because of the bullying that she had endured. So I think that was very important for her to tell us about that, because had she not told us about the constant bullying that she endured, she would not have been able to explain this part with her not wanting to be a part of the girl group without her looking like an ungrateful brat. But with her saying, I had went through so much with being bullied by these girls, and my confidence was very low, and to now get to this point, and I got to go back into an environment where I'm probably going to feel extremely uncomfortable. So anyway, she's in this girl group. I don't remember the girl group. I didn't know she was in a girl group.
Agree. I don't either.
Yeah, she don't remember it either. If you guys know the name, let me know. And if you know who the girls are, please let me know. But it was uncomfortable for her because she didn't want to do it. And she was obviously a star, right? Like the other two girls knew. One was upset about it. The other was just like, girl, we kind of knew that you were going to be the one to take off, but she didn't want to do it. And she talked to Chris about it. Chris was just like, this is how we have to start. This is how we have to get you in the door. So it seems like Chris already wanted to make her a solo star, but because back then it were so many boy bands,
it was a lot of girl groups.
Yeah, it was boy bands and girl groups back then. So he was just like, this is how we get you seen. You got to be in a girl group. And she didn't want to do it, but her parents, they encouraged her. Her mom was just like, Brandy, sometimes, you got to walk through these doors to get to the door that you're supposed to get through. Like, you don't know this path. So this is how you have to walk it. So she did it. She didn't really like it. She didn't feel comfortable, but she did it. So now they have, so she's in a girl group. They're doing the talent show thing. We're in the baggy clothes because that's how it was back in the day, but it just wasn't her. Just wasn't comfortable, but she went along with it because
she was trying to be a star.
Yeah, she was trying to be a star, but this was the vehicle that Chris told her. So Chris said, listen, I got a meeting with Daryl Williams, who's this big time music exec. He is who you got to get in front of. When she tells this story about the girl group going in front of this exec, Daryl, and how he stops them mid-performance, tells Brandy to come to the front, tells her to sing, stops her mid-performance, and tells her, come see me when you're 14, in front of the other two girls. So for her to not be getting 14, these girls are like 12, 13 years old. Why are you, Daryl, talking to these kids like this?
Well,
but hold on. That's the problem with the industry.
Okay.
These are very young people, right? You're not talking to somebody 32. You're talking to 13, 12-year-old girls. So I can only imagine how that man was looking at them, uninterested. Stop, sing, come to me when you're 14. That's it. And Chris is just like, yeah, that's all. Yes, very Miranda Priestley. And Chris is just like, well, this is a girls group. He's like, no, I don't want to see that right now. I want to see her. Tell her to come back when she's 14. Now, Brandy is like excited because this is what she wanted, but now she also feels like garbage because she can, while she is feeling special, she can't celebrate it because she can see these two young girls start to deteriorate in front of her. And she said when they rode home from that meeting, this car was silent and Chris was trying to encourage them, but the damage had already been done. Daryl had already set in disappointment in these young girls. Like, even though Brandy was going to get an opportunity, she couldn't really celebrate it because it's not just because she didn't want to hurt their feelings, but also because Daryl just made it uncomfortable for everybody. These are young girls. Why are you talking to them like that? But that is the problem with the industry. That's how these gatekeepers treat people, no matter the age. And oftentimes these gatekeepers look like us. These are how ditties are made, right? Yeah. Because they are the gatekeeper to an opportunity. And they're put there because they are going to be over the black market or something like that, right? And so because these people have this name, they know that they can treat you a certain way because they're the big dog. And it's so unfortunate, but this is often what we in the entertainment industry have to deal with these gatekeepers, the ones that look like us, the ones that will share their struggle about how hard it was for them to get in the door, only to make it harder for the next black person or the next woman. Like, this is the problem. Yes. Like, why would you do that? Kill those dreams of those two little girls. Now, I'm not saying that you have to baby them, but let them perform, right? and say, thank you, ladies. Thank you very much. And then have a meeting with Chris. Why are you doing that?
Or call her mother and father. You know what I mean?
Not even that, but just have the He brought these girls to you, have a meeting with Chris, talk about development or not. But to do that in front of those girls, not only were you emasculating Chris, you were also showing these young girls who you are in a terrible light. And that is the problem with them gatekeepers that look like us. So Brandy is excited but disappointed because these two girls that she was in this group with for whatever, their dreams have been taken away from them. And now she's just like, are they going to be mad at me about it?
Yeah.
I felt so bad because one of the girls was just like, listen, I'm not shocked. She was just like, you're a star. Like, you can sing, you're really good. She was just like, I knew that this was how it was going to go because I've seen your talent. A 12-year-old. This is a 12-year-old being like, I kind of knew that it was you and not me. And then the other young girl, she's not really talking. And Brandy's just like, she went to the bathroom. She come out. She's crying because this guy killed her dreams. As a kid, killed her dreams. And so Brandy's like in this really weird place. But she was just like, this showed me that this is how this industry is, like very cutthroat, even with kids. Very, very, very cutthroat. So eventually the girl group falls apart because the other girl was just like, she left and she ain't never come back. Because the other girl was just like, I'm not going to be in a group knowing that we're just going to be your background singers to prepare you for your solo career. Because that's eventually what it was going to become. And the girl was like, no. So the group eventually didn't work out because the other girls was just like, we're not going to be vehicles for Brandy's success. So that left Brandy in like a limbo because she's not yet 14. Chris is going to hold on to her until she comes 14 because Daryl said, to bring her back when you develop her a bit more. So now, because she's not being used, Chris is going to make her and Ray J background singers for Immature. And I was just like, I saw every Immature concert. I remember watching them at the Apollo. I do not remember Brandy and Ray J. Ain't that something? Brandy was on that stage for Immature and nobody was thinking about her. My God, today. So she's very excited. Her and Ray J are very excited because they're in New York. Because Immature is singing at Showtime at the Apollo. And she can't believe it because back then the Apollo still is a big deal, but back then it was a really, really big deal because their show, Showtime at the Apollo, it was like a make or break for Black talent. And again, another Black show that we had. Guys, there was so much Blackness on TV when I was growing up. So it was like a make or break show for Black talent. And they were so happy to be there. Now, as Brandy tells this story, I'm just like, where are your parents? Because she's not 14 yet. Ray J is younger. Immature is younger. Where are the parents? It seems like it's just the kids and Chris Stokes.
Yeah, the kids are in New York without their parents.
That's what it sounded like. And she didn't say anything about the parents because she then tells a story.
No, she did say that they weren't there.
Oh, she said the parents were there?
There with Chris Stokes, yes.
So she tells
us in a room.
Yes, so she tells the story about how all the kids are hanging out. And she says that Half Pint, who I forgot about Half Pint from Immature. Do y'all remember Half Pint? This is Half Pint, the Asian kid. For some reason, back in the day, every Black group had like a random Asian member. I don't know what that was. It was the 90s and 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Every Black group had a random Asian member. This is Half Pint today. But she said that he put his hand up her shirt, like he was trying to cop a feel. And she got so mad, she swatted his hand and said, "Do not touch me." And the guys were laughing about it. I guess it was Romeo and the other one. They were Romeo and Half Pint laughing about it. She got so angry, she threw a book, and it ended up hitting Romeo. And she said his eyeball fell out, and it was like so.
It hit him in the retina.
It hit him in the retina, and like it fell out. So it was just like, it was a whole moment, and she was just like, my anger it went from rage to fear. We're scared. Everybody's crying, and she ends the chapter there, right? But I do want to say this: the way she talks about it, she says Half Pint's parents came and got him, and he left the group. They said it was for creative differences, but he know why. You know what? Let me just read that last part. Let me read the last part because I read this and I hollered. She said, Immature would go on to find success without Half Pint, who left the group shortly after the incident. The official story cited creative differences, but those of us who were there suspected a different reason, and I went on my way too. So my thing is, the way it was written to me, I was just like, Brandy, are you still beefing with Half Pint? Because what was the creative differences, or what is the truth? Because did he get thrown out of the group because he tried to put his hand up your shirt? Or was it the retina thing with Romeo? Because I was like, are you still having beef with him? But she said after that, she was done with Immature. Of course she would have. Of course. Like, I'm sorry. If I was the mother of Romeo and my son lost his eye because of this hormonal little child, yeah, she couldn't be around anybody else. Yeah. Get her out. Pack her up too. But I also remember this story, and I remember Romeo, he told it a very, very different way. So we're going to talk about this, and then I'll get into the comments.
Patch and everything.
Yeah.
And there was the rumor that Brandy did that. Was that true, or is that how that really worked?
No, that's a true story.
Really?
Yeah. Her and Half Pint had got into it.
Okay.
And she got up, kind of like she had a book in her hand, just tossed it back.
Tossed it back.
Not thinking
Right.
I was that close. Cut my retina,
Dang.
Yeah.
detached it.
Dang, that's
and
crazy.
The lens to my eye had fell out. And actually, Brandon Adams had caught it. He was actually there with us.
Brandon Adams.
Yeah, he was
there.
Yep.
So he's in there holding my lens. He not knowing what's going on.
Whoa.
Mark come in, and we trying to hide it. So
Yeah, they was trying to hide it from me, so I came in. I'm like, "What's going?" Rome is on the bed, like kind of like Chris.
Oh my God!
I'm like, "What's going on?" And Rome was like, "Nothing." And Brandy was like, "Well, he don't want to get me in trouble, like it's nothing or whatever." So I immediately went and got Chris. I was like, "Chris, something happened to Rome." He came in there. He's like, "What's going on?" And they told us, like, they was like, "Yeah, it was an accident." Took Rome to the hospital, and
Dang.
So Brandy is so they turned his retina issue, his retina assault from Brandy, they turned it into a fashion trend. Remember, y'all remember everybody wearing eye patches, not knowing that he's wearing an eye patch because he was assaulted by Brandy? My God, today. Well, no, he doesn't wear it today, but he does wear his eye out, and there is damage. There is damage there. Yeah, he wears like shades most of the time. But so that's where we ended, with Brandy leaving Immature, or no longer being a background singer for Immature, after she almost blinded Romeo. So, what a whirlwind. And she's not even 14 yet. She has went through all of this.
All these men and no mother.
My God, today she's not even 14. We still got to get to I Want to Be Down, Brokenhearted, Wanye, Baby Daddy, Fighting with Dark Child, The Boy Is Mine, Kobe. We got so much to get through. And we're only on page 75. My God, today. But that's all of my thoughts about the chapters we have read thus far. What do you guys have to say? Let's get into, we got to get into Kim Kardashian and Ray J. It's so much. It's so much. Hey, Hill with Nona Black TV. Hillwood on the Black TV said, "Hi, Nikki. Did you see in the civil suit with Ray J and Kardashians that Norwood family sued Kim Kardashian for over $800K on her use of a credit?" Yeah, I remember that. It was Brandy's credit card. It was Brandy's credit card. She could have got locked up for fraud, but they spared her. I don't want to blame the Norwoods, but if they would have got her locked up, we wouldn't be here.
Kim Kardashian used her credit card?
Yeah.
She was doing everything.
Yeah, spent up almost $1 million. For Empathy said, Brandy's father really seems to be the epitome of nurturing talent. Yep. BY said, yes, children need that affirmation by the right adults in their lives. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Denard said, yes, I love how her family surrounded her. Yep. And even the people in the church. Shay said, I love how they supported her, came together to make her dreams come true. Absolutely.
A lot of people do that in the hood for these young boys trying to go to the NBA.
Yeah. Yeah. Shoni said, I was so proud of her for finessing her way backstage. She went from being a girl to being like, Dad, I can't sing, to being the girl to being like, I'm going to get a record deal and I'm going to Whitney Houston. And that is just because they constantly affirmed her.
Yep. That's what happens when you encourage, affirm your child. Mm-hmm. They can reach the highest mountain.
Mm-hmm. Denard said her mother spoke into her daughter's destiny and didn't even know it at all. E for Empathy said, having confidence and acting like you belong can get you a long way. I love that she learned that at an early age. I'm sure it served her well. Absolutely. Oh, Gimme Shelter said we should review Mama Star's book.
Yes.
She will love that.
Be crying.
Yeah, it's a tearjerker. Jasmine said that was such a freak accident. Had no idea that Brandy was around the same time as Immature. Yep. So Seth said.
I didn't.
Me either. I knew they were around the same time, but I didn't even know that she sang backup for them. Yeah.
I didn't know that she was being shopped around by Chris Stokes.
No idea.
I didn't even know that he was in her.
Listen, not regardless, the things that are said about him, the boy could see some talent. He was a talent maker. Social Stuff said, I met Chris Cross at Blockbuster Music when I was like 12. Oh. Do you see how much talent we had? Like, there are so many child superstars, Black child superstars that we can talk about. Like, that they're barely non-existent today. Denard said the potential girl group was very interested. Here's the thing. Do we know who those girls are? I would love to know where they are at today. Me either, Be Wise. I did not know about a girl group with Brandy in it. Over It All said,
yeah. You wouldn't have never said it. I wouldn't have.
Nope.
Never known.
Over It All said, there is no empathy or kindness in the entertainment industry. It seems very scary for young people. Yeah. I have been adamant to say it is not an industry for young people. Shoni, I will say, if you have a young person who you want to put in the entertainment industry as a parent, you got to quit that job. You got to quit that job, and you have to be their guardian. You have to be in every room with them, on every set. You can never leave that child alone. Shoni said, I wonder if either of the girls from the group, me too, made it into the industry. I wonder who they are today. Miss Afro Majestic said, hi, everyone. How can I sign up for the newsletter? Toya-Star posted the newsletter in the chat. I want to tell her to post it. Oh, thank you. E for Empathy posted it. Thank you, E for Empathy. Denard said, when she threw that book, I was like, oh, that's why yep. And we just thought it was a trend. It was a style. He was literally covering up his eye.
Those kids went through it.
Yeah. Shoni said, I had no idea that Brandy was the reason behind Romeo's eye patch. Me either. Jasmine said, I'm surprised they're laughing about it now. I feel like the kids immediately knew because they were saying they were all crying. You know what I mean? I feel like they all immediately felt bad. I think it was the parents who were just like, oh, hell no.
Oh,
yeah. And I understand Romeo's mom was probably like, get that girl out of here and her little brother.
Yeah, I would have sued Crystal,
yep.
The mother.
That's probably why Half Pint parents said. But I do love the maturity in it. Romeo was just like, she didn't know I was behind her. She wasn't intentional. Give Me Shelter said, how does an eye just pop off? It seems like the edge of the book cut through his eye.
Woo!
And Brandon Adams was there for some reason. He was there and he caught it. They were all so connected back in the day. Cameron said, I remember my sister used to be a big fan of Immature, especially when they grew up and became IMX. My sister used to be obsessed with me too. Oh, that was my boo. I was obsessed with Romeo. Shoni said, Brandy managed to gag me at least once a chapter. Absolutely did. I'm like, oh, I'm learning so much. Cameron said, Mama Star don't know that Kim Kardashian started off working for Brandy. Yep. And Kim found one of Brandy's credit cards in one of her bags, and her sister spent $80K. Yep. I thought it was 800.
No,
I thought it was close to $1 million. Oh, maybe it was close to 100,000. Yeah.
So whatever happened to her for that?
The Norwoods spared her. That's why they did not take any legal. They just got the money back from the Jenner person. They ended up paying. Yeah. No, it's Caitlyn.
Well, he was Bruce back then.
Caitlyn
Jenner. Y'all kills me.
BY said Kim K was working for Brandy and she was spared by the Norwoods. Yep. BY said, I see how that K family works and I don't like it. Yep. Can I tell you, the Norwoods could have stopped the Kardashians. All they did was create them.
Yep.
Had it not been for Ray J, we would not have them.
Yeah.
It's always a black man, ain't it?
But he was a young black man. Now.
It don't matter.
He was a kid, the mother.
Black men are always releasing the worst things onto the black community. They are a problem.
No, they was trying to get money.
They're all Montezes. El Boogie said, oops, hit the button. My dad's girlfriend finessed us backstage for crisscross. A photographer took our photos and then we never heard from him or got our pictures. Oh, you know what? They're probably somewhere, some Goodwill. You never know. They might pop up on the internet at some point. Cameron said Kim sold Brandy credit card and spent almost $1 million. I thought it was $1 million on starting their clothing store. Yep. But the reason why we have them is because Brandy did not want to press charges. Girl. We would not have had that issue had you stepped in and did what you were supposed to do, because y'all keep on giving them chances they will never give us. Had the tables been turned, they would have put Brandy under the prison. You black people are too nice. Anyway, Star Fam, that is all for us today on our first book club. Good job. This was fun. I had a really good time. That 75 was light work, but some of these chapters are a little thick. Let's see. Drop Dead Gorgeous. Do we want to do 3 chapters again? You know what? I got to talk about this. So we're going to get through. Yeah. Let's read from Drop Dead Gorgeous. Let's finish Drop Dead Gorgeous through Broken Hearted. Let's do those for our next chapter, for our next book reading, which will be Thursday. Here is why. I'm moving it from Wednesday to Thursday because of Summer House, and I can't. Everybody's already talking to me about the season finale, so I need to talk about that. So what do you guys think? It's Drop Dead Gorgeous is page 75, and we are going through to Broken Hearted, and that is page 133. Give me a thumbs up if you guys think that you can do that in a week. If not, if that's too much, we'll just do Drop Dead Gorgeous through The Kind of Girl. So before we get out of here, y'all let me know. But I just feel like, to be honest, I feel like this is a book you can't put down. It's so good. It was so hard not to go over. So I feel like that's something we can do, but I realized that we had 3 weeks to like get the book and read the book. And I know, like I said before, I know, people are working. We got 9 to 5. Some people got a 6 to 11 after the 9 to 5, kids and things. I understand we're also in different time zones. So I want to be respectful of your time. But I really want to get through Broken Hearted because I know that's about Wanye. I really want to get through it.
Yes,
So let me up. So thumbs. Oh, thank you. Give me Shelter said, Nikki, you are a great storyteller. You gave us so much for just reach out. Thank you so much. So is it thumbs up that you can get through Broken Hearted as well? Or like which one is it for? Because I got a lot of thumbs up. I want to get through Broken Hearted. I mean, I feel like we can do that over the weekend, but I don't want to take up your weekend. But it's just this, guys. That's not a lot. That's not a lot.
Well, let's see.
So we can do it? Okay, we got a lot of thumbs up. I think we can get through Broken Hearted. So we're going to go, yes. So we're going to go from Drop Dead Gorgeous to Broken Hearted because we got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. So on Thursday, I'll put up the reminder tonight. Thursday, also give me a thumbs up. It's 5 p.m. good for you guys, or do you need earlier? Or I know you probably don't want to go later because that'll be like 9 o'clock for some of you guys. So is 5 good, or would you like 4? Let me know. Don't give me a thumbs up. Just tell me 4 or 5 for next week. But we're going to meet next Thursday at either 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. and we're going to discuss Drop Dead Gorgeous through Broken Hearted. Oh, 5 is great. 5 is great on Thursday. Okay. We got it. This was fun. I like book club. We're going to keep it.
Me too.
We're going to keep book club. We're going to keep book club. But thank you so much, Star Fam. I love you. This was really, really fun. Oh, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that'll be 8 p.m. for you guys. So let me say for the Eastern people, 7 p.m. or 8. 7 p.m. or 8 on Thursday. That's what we're deciding. But this was fun. This really, really was. We're seeing a new side of Brandy. We're learning a lot. I said, not you the one that made my boyfriend wear an eye patch. Girl. Okay. So 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursday. That's 8 p.m. for my East Coast people. 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Thank you, Denard. Thank you, Denard. So be there or be square. Tomorrow we are going to knock out this Nature Boy documentary and Summer House, the season finale. So I'll see you there. Love you guys. Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. See you soon.
Love you, Star.